Well then, the Doomposters were right. Mushoku Tensei Season 2 is a downgrade. It's less polished than it could be, with less action for those who expect it, and less vibrant, less expressive animation than the first season. There's also a significant amount of skipped content, and yet, it's bigger than ever. People are still raving about it and my channel is still growing because of it. Mushoku Tensei is special, but why? Well, believe it or not, it's not only because of the good story and executions, it relates to things that many of us don't like. Spoilers! We'll get to that. But first, welcome to the first long video of Dumbo. After 9 months, I guess? It's a pleasure to meet you. A little bit of my background. I worked in the behavioral science field for 3 years before I took a huge leap to digital marketing in the last 4 years. So I basically gaslight people to buy stuff using psychology online. Just for the context, Mushoku Tensei always comes up as weird to me. Especially the rise in Season 2 because a lot of things were against them in this case. For example, Mushoku Tensei is a fantasy story with, I guess, the most generic plot ever. A 34-year-old no-name jobless dude gets hit by a truck, is reborn again as Rudeus Garrett in the world of swords and magic. Yeah, really, I don't even need to use Mushoku Tensei clip here. The first season of Mushoku Tensei aired in January 2021 was excellent. It basically put Mushoku Tensei on the map for most anime enjoyers. But when Season 2 started being released in 2023, you can feel the quality downgrade. Well, according to public sources, many of the all-star team members who handled the first season part 1 are not really involved in Season 2 part 1 anymore. And it's not just the quality that's taken a hit. Story-wise, Season 2 part 1 is also in a weird spot. The majority of Season 2's main plot, Rudeus going to university to heal this ED, is funny and weird. And they basically put the other main concept of Season 1, finding Zenith, on hold. I mean, come on, the stake of your limb stick compared to what happened in Season 1 is just lovable. Sometimes it feels like a side story kind of thing. So what kind of voodoo magic have they done to rescue Season 2 then? Well, in fact, it's less about Season 2 itself and more about what Mushoku Tensei team and other did in 2021 and even before that. It was December 2021, episode 23 of Mushoku Tensei just finished airing. So if you're a person who makes money through producing anime, what would you think then? Well, about Season 2 for a starter. Now, of course, you can't just put a Season 2 announcement and some PV and then hope and pray to God that people will flock. Well, they probably only need that much in terms of content for Mushoku Tensei. Mushoku Tensei is not a new story. The web novel started in 2012, the light novel started in 2018. The main story already ended in both. It's a finished product, so to say. They have enough content already, and now just up to them to make it count through marketing. Now, let's talk about marketing a little. In marketing, to publicize stuff, you don't just rely on yourself and your brand. There are 4 types of media, which are usually abbreviated into PESO: paid, earned, shared, and owned media. For Mushoku Tensei case, you only need to focus on one because that's where the gold is: earned media. It's basically the content related to Mushoku Tensei that is made voluntarily by other entities besides you. And Mushoku Tensei struck gold here. The biggest influencers in the anime industry talked about Mushoku Tensei, news outlets around their controversies, the creators were crazy about them, and it kept going from there, especially for creators. Why? Because these people have tons of source materials, manga, light novels, anime, you choose. I mean, just look, some of the most watched shorts about Mushoku Tensei is a spoiler from a web novel released in 2022. Doesn't matter, it's a spoiler, still a win for Mushoku Tensei. More people will know about it, more people will be waiting for its continuation, despite just getting spoiled. But there's something, of course, that makes it different from other anime. I mean, plenty of series are already finished in other formats, but they can't come close to Mushoku Tensei. Is it just about quality? Not really. Now for that, let's turn our time machine to Season 1 and before. Okay, so by now we already know we get too much anime per season, but it's also true that each season we get a lot of good anime, more compared to a couple of years ago. In the winter 2021, Mushoku Tensei had to compete with Tensura second season, ReZero second season part 2, Kumo Desuga Nanika, and I don't know, 10 other isekai. And hey, that's just isekai. It also had Attack on Titan, Horimiya, Waiting for Disaster the series, and a bunch of other great titles. The competition was crazy good, and when you can't just be better, better, you have to be better and different. And that's just Mushoku Tensei. Let me ask you then, when I gave you the synopsis earlier, do you think I did Mushoku Tensei justice? No, of course not. Not even a fraction of justice given. Sure, the early premise is super generic for 2021, but stay for only 4 episodes and your jaw will be on the floor. It becomes so different after that. No talk about the hero and stuff, no invasion from the demon lords. It's just really different. Of course, it's the predecessor of Isekai, but somehow modern Isekai nowadays only like to take the worst parts, I guess. So it's better in terms of story and production quality. It's different enough to stand out, and it's easy to sell because it's still an isekai, a trope people can get into fast. And also props to the author because it's such a fine line to guard, ensuring it's still easy to digest as an isekai but still different enough that it's still engaging and has more value than, generic isekai. So the expectations were high but also really diversified. People can get into it not just for the pew pew animation quality, woo, but for other reasons as well. Now what they have to do for season 2 is just stay true to those brands. A good, distinct, somewhat provoking but not trashy isekai show. A little dip in animation quality can't bother much because the Mushoku Tensei brand isn't only about high-tier animation quality, it's truly a story that has stood the test of time.